I figured I'd update you on a couple things. She's got about a week left. This is Waffles. One really awesome thing that God has been doing. I'm excited about that. Hey guys. It has been a crazy busy summer. Honestly, it's been hard to keep up with this channel, not because we aren't doing things, but because it takes a lot longer to document while we're doing them. And yeah, it's been busy, so it's just been faster and easier to just do the things without documenting. But then I'm leaving you guys behind on the journey, so I figured I'd come out here and just update you on a couple things that I can remember and just let you know how things are going this summer. So let's start with these chickies here. They are 3 weeks old, I believe, and not fully feathered yet, so they're not out here full time, but they are growing so fast. I am so impressed at the growth rate of these guys. They are growing and feathering out way faster than any other chicks that I've ever had before. So that's really impressive. That's quality breeding for you. But I have been putting them out here during the day because they're just too big to keep in breeders in the garage at this point. And then at night, it has been dipping down to the low 70s, high 60s, which is a little chilly when you don't have feathers. So I've been putting them back in the garage just overnight and then bringing them back again in the morning. This tractor has been working great. Moving it around with those new tires on it is awesome. So much easier than last year. I am looking forward to these guys being out here full time. But so far they're doing really well. And going forward, I can already see that we're going to have to build a permanent larger brooder in the garage if we're going to continue hatching these guys as planned, because they just grow too fast to keep in tubs. I mentioned that we had put quail eggs in the incubator. We are on day 17 now. 2 nights ago, I went ahead and put them into lockdown. I took out the Turner, and these guys only have an 18-day incubation, which is a lot shorter, so I only candle these guys the one time when I take out the Turner. And just because they're small and with all the speckles, it's really kind of hard to see much detail through the shells. But once you get to that lockdown day, it's pretty easy to see if there has been development and the egg is nice and dark, except for the air pocket there, or if it is a dud and was not fertile, in which case it glows kind of a green color when you shine a light through it. So I went ahead, took out all the infertile duds, and fertility was not great. I think it was like 46% or something like that. But it also wasn't terribly surprising. When I started collecting these eggs, one of my roosters was kind of beat up pretty bad, so I wasn't sure he was doing his job. Turns out he wasn't, which I don't really blame him because he was in rough shape. He's doing much better now, but at the time he was getting picked on a lot. So fertilization wasn't awesome, but we still have, I want to say 18 left, I forget. But as per usual, they're getting ready to hatch a little bit early. I've had them hatch as early as 16 days before, like right after putting them locked down. So we probably will be having some chicks popping out by this evening, because these guys, once they start, they go fast. Usually once that first one gets out and the rest of them start hearing it peep, they follow suit and come out really quick succession. So we'll see how many get before the end of the day. Now, I have not hatched any ducks this summer. One, haven't had time. We got back from vacation, put those chicks in, and then immediately after we put quail in, and we just there hasn't been any time available in the incubator to hatch any. Plus, I've mentioned before, I hate brooding ducks. They're just so messy. There's so much work. I really don't enjoy it at all. Now, a couple of our duck hens have tried to hatch eggs this summer. I think I've mentioned that. It hasn't really gone so well thanks to our egg-eating hens. But we do have one currently in the little coop, which has a butterfly on the door. That's quite pretty. And she's got just about a week left to hatch some eggs there. She had 10 to begin with. One did break. And then I candled them last weekend, and there was one that wasn't fertile. All the rest were developing well, and it's been actually kind of nice for her, I think, because it's been so hot out in the mid 90s. She hasn't had to sit on them all day long. Most of the day she spends out in the yard and then just goes in at night because the ambient temperature is so warm, they're incubating themselves. Now, this week, is the third day in a row that it's been 70s, low 80s. So she has been spending more time in there this week. But up to this point, she hasn't had to. So that's been nice for her. But yeah, she's got about a week left. And then we should have some ducks. I hope she has a really great hatch rate and does a good job raising them, because I didn't think I was going to have any ducks in the freezer this year. And she's saving the day. And then ducks grow out way faster than chickens. So we'll be able to process them before it gets too cold as well. Now, another note on this little coop here. At the beginning of the year, we started remodeling it, as you know. And then it rained and rained and rained and rained and rained some more. So we never actually got around to finishing it or painting it because it would never dried out until recently. But we did eventually get around to hinging this side here so that we can open it up for easy clean out. And we did put a little door on here so that mama hen could be safe at night. Mama duck hen. But as you can tell, we do not have a run on it. And we had this big old dog cage that we used for a run on this little coop. Well, it came with the house that way. So that's as long as we've been here, we've always had that dog cage to be used for a run over here. When we originally started working on this little coop remodel, we had pulled that cage out of the way and set it here on its side. Didn't think that through, apparently. So as it sat here on its side, the grass grew up through the chain link and brought the dirt with it. And long story short, it got really, really stuck in here. And we tried to get it out manually, couldn't do it. Mike had brought his van back here to unload some hay, and we thought, hey, since it's here, let's use that to try to pull it out. What we did, we tried many, many ways to pull it out. Okay, take two. Yeah, that ain't doing it. And we did get it pulled out, but it's no longer usable. Yeah. So, little run is now retired, and we got to figure out a way to dispose of it. I'm not really sure how to do that. So, if you know, please let me know in the comments. But, yes. So, now that this is out of commission, we need to work out a new run for this little coop here. There's the garden. We got a fence on, or a gate. We got a gate on, and chicken wired around. So it's keeping the rabbits out now, which is great. But I will give you a full garden tour and update in another video. Hello, Goose Goose. Hi, Sam. Hey, Sam. How are ya? Over here by the rabbit tree, if you will. And we have not gotten a chance to fix these drop trays yet. Unfortunately, that was on the list for the summer. Hasn't happened yet. But I don't remember, did I introduce you to our new breeder dough waffles? Or chip, depending on what day it is. Kids named her. It goes back and forth. I don't know. But anyways, so this is Waffles, and she is super sweet. Basically, after Bunny here decided to pull her antics with her last litter, well, as a friend said, there are too many good rabbits in the world to put up with that garbage. So, Miss Bunny here is earning her place in the freezer. Probably same time I put her last litter in there, which she ended up with only 3 left after her terrible mothering skills. You can watch that video. I'll put a link up above there. She didn't do a good job. So they're going to be all going to the freezer about the same time. And not only, it's not just her behavior and her mothering skills, because those babies of hers are all also super tiny still. They're very slow growing, which the first litter was 2. It took twice as long to grow out as it ought to. So not great genetics, which we knew going in, but super slow growing. So not really worth all the extra feed. So they're going to be going in the freezer, and we got Miss Waffles here to replace her. This is Waffles. She is super sweet. Got her from a friend. She's just a meat mutt. All sorts of different breeds mixed together. But her dad was a chinchilla, an American chinchilla rabbit. So she has very soft fur. But as you can see, she's super sweet, unlike Bunny. And when we first got her, she had never been handled a day in her life. So she was very skittish. But you can see she came around. She's super sweet. So I hope that she's a really good mother, because we really like her. She's just a sweetheart. But the reason she was up for grabs is because her mother was throwing very small litters. In fact, the litter that she came from was only 2. So hopefully that isn't a genetic trait and that she does a better job, because I kind of like to keep her around. She's very beautiful and very sweet. So remember these bags that we put on the grape clusters to keep the birds from eating them all? Well, they worked. They kept the birds from eating them. Haven't had any issues with birds eating them at all. However, what we have had an issue with is deer eating them. Yeah, deer are just ripping them off the vine, damaging the vine in the process, chewing up the bag, and then leaving them all over the place. Which means no grapes for us again. I really just want to run electric around our entire property, because these deer are driving me insane. One really awesome thing that God has been doing for us this past 2 weeks or so is providing us with wood for the wood stove. Now, the stuff we've been getting is more for next year. I've been on a chip drop list for about 5 years for wood chips and logs. And this past week, I finally got a drop of logs, a ton of logs of silver maple, which will be great once it sits in seasons for a year and gets split, and we can burn that next winter, which will be amazing. And then Mike also was able to find some on Marketplace that was just cut this year, so again, won't be ready until next year, but that's supposed to be getting delivered this weekend at a really good price, like half of what we paid last year per cord. So really great price, just needs to sit in season for a year. And then this big old ash tree that we had cut down about 3 years ago now, I think. And I'll link the video when we had that done as well, back here behind the goat barn. It was this big log right here, big tree here, and then there was another one here. And it's been sitting there ever since. And we started to cut off, some of these logs over here last year, but we just did not have a big enough chainsaw to do it. So a friend came over the other day and with some bigger chainsaws, and he helped Mike get that all sliced up. They didn't get it all split, but we did get quite a bit of it split down, at least into manageable chunks. And then my dad has given us his wood splitter that we can use to break it down further. Now, unfortunately, even though it's been sitting for 3 years, where it was located, going parallel with the downslope, it caught a lot of water. So this wood is still very, very wet, even though it's quite old. So it also will need to sit for a while and dry. So we were hoping to use this year, but that's not going to happen. It needs to be split further, stacked, and dried. So we're going to have a whole ton of wood for next year, but I'm really excited about that. That's a blessing from God, because now is really when you want to get it for the following year. And, last year we were new the whole thing, and we didn't even have our stove yet this time last year. So we were not able to prepare ahead for this year, but we are for next year. So that's just a wonderful, amazing blessing. And I don't know, maybe God knows that we won't need it as much this year, and that's why we haven't gotten a lot for this year yet, but maybe next year we will. I don't know. Only time will tell. God knows. But I'm just really excited about all this wood that we're going to have available to us next year, and to not have to worry about heating our house at all. So that's a great blessing. And that same friend who came and helped with this actually has some extra wood on his homestead that he's not going to get to before it gets old. So he's going to be bringing that by later this week, and we're going to find something to barter with for that wood. And it is well seasoned, ready to go. So that'll be a great start for this year's wood. That'll be ready to burn, ready to go. So I'm excited about that. So yeah, this morning, all this stuff that I chipped up the other day back here behind the fence, I was chucking over the fence so that we can get it up to the house and split it down further and start stacking it. So that's been keeping me busy. I also cleared off this concrete pad that we have out here in the backyard, but I'm not going to tell you why yet. That'll be in a future video. Well, the quail have hatched, haven't you? They're so tiny and cute. We actually ended up not having any of them hatch the day that I thought. There were several pipped, as I showed you, and then when we went to bed, still just pipped, which we thought, great. They're going to hatch in the middle of the night and keep us awake all night, because that's what they always do. But we were pleasantly surprised to wake up to 10 chicks in the morning. So that was nice that they didn't keep us awake. So we had those 10, and then 2 more ended up hatching after that. One of them did pass away. But yeah, so we have 11 little quail chicks in here, and I think quail chicks are my favorite of the ones we hatch, because they're so vibrant and so active, and just it's so fun to just watch them explore the world for the first time. And they're just so cute and tiny. I just love them. It's always exciting to see new life come into the world, but some of them are just more fun to watch than others, and these guys definitely fit that bill. Well, that about wraps up my update for you for this week. We have not only been doing all of the things that you've seen thus far, but we've also been harvesting and preserving that harvest, starting school back up, all the things. So as I said, it's been a very, very busy time and a very, very busy August. But I hope wherever this finds you that you're having a lovely end of your summer. And until next time, happy homesteading.